You have kids. They're like precious babies. Oh, winning a game in Cleveland.
They are.
Oh,
There are
if
only
if
16
I give
games
away
a year.
Cleveland, I've dropped my baby off the balcony.
There are 16
No.
games a year. You're playing for the top seeding in the AFC. Let's go to Kansas City right now and talk to a gentleman who's covering a team that is 1-4. He probably wishes he was having conversations like this right now. Let's go to Sam Mellinger. He is a longtime sports columnist of the Kansas City Star. Sam, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I hope you didn't have to listen to that, Sam.
What I heard was great.
Sam, what are the Kansas City Chiefs going to do at running back? And is the feeling around your city that maybe this season is lost already?
Yeah. I guess I'll answer the first part first. I mean, I think that they're going to try and just mix and match as best they can. And I mean, I could give you the real answer. Do you want the real answer?
Sure, yeah, please.
Or do you want
let's
to just
be honest.
hear that they are screwed?
Let's try honesty, Sam. That'd be a great concept for all of us.
The real answer is that they're screwed.
Okie dokie.
If you, I mean, we like Shakadrick West is gonna, he's got good hands now. Davis is, something of a power runner, but and physically he's super gifted, but he doesn't have very good vision, doesn't have balance.
Get him some
some
LASIKs in.
What's that?
If he doesn't have very good vision, let's get him some LASIK surgery and not play him for a couple of weeks.
He could use that, or he could use Jamaal Charles still starting and covering his flaws. But I mean, the feeling around the city, first of all, is pure excitement because there's a playoff game tonight.
Sure.
But the people that care, that are thinking about the Chiefs are, it's defeatism. I mean, it's this is over, and there's a, it's that mix of sadness and anger that Denver has not felt about a football team in quite some time. But because I think there were some hopes that the Chiefs would be a playoff team this year, and maybe even if things go right, challenge the Broncos in the division. And that game, that Thursday night game, sort of the beginning of the end. I mean, you just to have a 14-point lead or whatever in the second half against a team that you have to beat, and to lose it that way is just heartbreaking. And then you get embarrassed to Green Bay, but at least that's a good team. You're never in a game against Cincinnati. Maybe you can, justify that somehow, but then to lose against the Bears the way they did it, the season now at this point going forward is just about, figuring out who needs to be here next year and who doesn't.
Well, speaking of that, does Andy Reid need to be there next year?
So it's a really good question, and I don't know what the answer is right now. I still believe that Andy Reid is a very good coach, and I think that he's got a great track record. I think that there was some talent on the roster that he inherited, but even so, going from 2-14 and that disaster that was 2012 to the playoffs the next year is not an insignificant accomplishment. But this would be 2 straight years that they've regressed, and the answer will come, I think, if we're talking about a 2-14, 3-13 kind of team, or can they get to be a 6-10, 7-9 kind of team where you can see some modes of progress in the second half. But that's something they're going to have to look at really hard. Bob Sutton, the defensive coordinator, is going to probably have to argue for his job. Andy Heck, the offensive line coach. They're going to have a lot of tough decisions. Alex Smith, they're married to him for at least another year, maybe 2. But they've got a decision to make at quarterback too if they bring somebody in.
I don't know. I heard divorce was legal in Kansas City, Sam.
Yeah, is Alex Smith a quarterback for life? And how long a life does he have?
Yeah.
Well, but he signed that contract extension last season, and so I think that I think it's fairly impossible for them to walk away from him after this year. I think they've got another year with him at least. But depending on where you end up in the draft, and depending on what you think of the guys that'll be there, it looks like Jared Goff and Connor Cook, the kid from Michigan State, will be, probably the first two quarterbacks taken. It looks like, but a lot can change in the next few months, obviously. But the idea of drafting a quarterback is it's a foreign concept here in Kansas City, to be honest with you. But the idea of drafting a guy to sit a year, learn the NFL, that kind of thing, and then maybe take over the next year, I think that could be really intriguing if we end up talking about a 3-13.
Sure.
4-12
I mean,
kind of thing.
yeah, you look at a team that the franchise history where they go out, they get Gannon and they get Montana and they get Kyle Orton and they get Alex Smith. And I think, and Sam, there's some stat about guys drafted by the Chiefs that have started like 2 games in 20 years or something like that. I mean,
no, it's an incredible stat. So the last time that the Chiefs won a football game with starting a quarterback that they drafted, it was Todd Blackledge.
There you go.
The infamous 1983 draft.
He was drafted with John Elway that year.
Drafted ahead of Dan Marino.
Yeah, I mean,
there were some other guys in that draft.
You just think with the Hunts in charge and everything, and with Kansas City being such a proud franchise, and people like you who push the team in the right direction, that they couldn't have done that all those years, that they just can't just keep going back to the well and saying, okay, so who's next? Drew Brees? That they're going to go out.
No, he's coming here. He's coming here.